There's this thing that I say a lot, and every time I say it, people either nod because it finally clicks or they get uncomfortable and pissy because it challenges everything that they've been taught. Abuse is not a mental illness. It is a belief system, period, full stop. And I know some people hate hearing that because you want a simple answer, right? You want to believe that if he's bipolar or borderline or he's depressed or traumatized or narcissistic, he has PTSD, ADHD, autism, whatever, then there's like this neat, clean explanation for why he's hurting you. Something that sounds medical, right? Something that feels like it's outside of his control. Something that lets you keep hoping that he'll get better. But none of that automatically equals abuse. Millions of people with any of those diagnoses are safe and kind and accountable, and they don't terrorize their partners. They don't scream, threaten, cheat, stonewall. They don't blame shift, twist reality. Abuse is not a symptom, it's a worldview. And I'm going to take you through my top 10 reasons for abuse, and I'm going to save the most powerful one for last because it's also the hardest one for us to change too. And yes, I do agree with Dr. Ramani, who has been quoted to say, all domestic abusers are narcissistic, meaning they display entitlement, they lack empathy, they exploit others, they're manipulative, and they think that the rules don't apply to them. But in agreement with her as well, that doesn't mean that they meet the diagnostic criteria for NPD. NPD itself isn't even a mental illness the way that people imagine it. It's a personality disorder, something stable and ingrained. It's a way of being in the world, but you don't need a diagnosis to be abusive. Further, and this has to be said, narcissism itself isn't even a diagnosis. People keep acting like women are just throwing this word around. Narcissism is a personality trait. Obviously, narcissistic personality disorder is a disorder and a diagnosis and requires a clinician. But to say someone's narcissistic, you just need 2 feet and a heartbeat. That's all you need. 2 eyes. For abuse, you just need a belief system that tells you that you're allowed to treat someone as less human than you. That's the part that people don't want to talk about, right? We want to pathologize abusers because if it's a disorder, then it's not his fault, right? A lot of people think it comes from trauma. It doesn't. It's genetic. I have other videos on that. Don't fight me in the comments. Go watch those videos or read The Nature and Nurture of Narcissism by Dr. Peter Salerno. We like to think if it's not his fault, then you can stay. You can try harder. You can fix it. And I get the need to fix it. Like the whole thing sucks being in these kinds of relationships and we want to love them through it. But that's not how this works. All of this, it just keeps hope alive, even when hope is the literal thing hurting you. Now, I'm Lisa Sonni. I'm an expert in toxic and abusive relationships, and I help women understand the psychology abusive men don't want you to understand. I spent a decade with a diagnosed narcissistic abuser. I'm a survivor of domestic abuse and assault, and my whole channel exists really to expose what's going on behind closed doors by men so women can rebuild their lives instead of just staying stuck in all of the confusion that these abusive men create. If you want more of this kind of clarity, hit subscribe. It helps more women find the truth that they've been gaslit away from. So let's get into what actually drives abuse. Because once you see these little ingredients, you can't unsee them. And trust me, you're going to start recognizing patterns in ways that explain everything that you've never questioned before. And at the end, I'm going to tell you the number one belief at the root of all abusive behavior. So stay with me. First ingredient. Dehumanization of women. This is the air we breathe. It's the way that girls are told to shrink and smile and be polite and don't make a fuss and don't upset anyone, be forgiving, be compassionate. It's the way that women's pain is just minimized, right? Period pain, normal. Birth injuries, normal. Emotional labor, expected. Why are you even complaining about it? It's the way a woman saying, I don't like that, gets her interpreted as being dramatic or emotional. You can't grow up in a world where women are treated as, emotional appliances, basically, right? And not absorb some of that. Men learn really early that girls exist to accommodate. And abusive men take that lesson all the way to the finish line. The next is misogyny, unsurprisingly, right? Hear me when I say this. Misogyny doesn't always look like hatred, right? We think it's very overt sometimes, but most of it, it's like indifference. It looks like a man who doesn't mean to hurt you, but also doesn't care enough not to. It looks like him believing your job is to soothe him, support him, make things easier for him, understand him, forgive him. It is the belief that women are responsible for men's emotions, men's comfort, and their damn behavior. And it's everywhere. It is everywhere. Religion, movies, family roles, workplace culture, dating advice, comedy. It's all coded with the message that your needs disrupt the system and his needs define the system. Next one, emotional illiteracy. This one's brutal. Boys are told from childhood that feelings make them weak. In a million different ways, they're told this, usually a little more indirect, but sometimes very direct. They're mocked for crying, shamed for having any insecurity. They're told to man up. The only emotion that they're allowed is anger. And anger becomes their default setting for anything that they don't know how to sit with. So when an abusive man feels embarrassed or scared or insecure or powerless or exposed, it is going to come out as aggression or control. And it's not because he's mentally ill. It's because he has learned that domination is going to be safer for him than something like vulnerability. He learned that the way to get relief is to push the discomfort onto someone else, usually the woman closest to him. Now, another massive ingredient is the externalization of responsibility. This one is wild. I could have put this one last. I really could have. Abusive men, they don't believe that they cause harm. They believe that harm happens to them, right? He thinks you made him jealous. You made him yell. You made him check your phone. You made him suspicious. Do you see how men say that men have no self-control? Men have no emotional regulation? These things are not true. Men have these things. They absolutely, unequivocally have these things. But do you see how everything becomes your fault? The culture backs him up, right? Look at the messaging that we hand women, right? Happy wife, happy life. It means the woman is responsible for the entire emotional climate. And we say that like it's a smart thing to say, like it somehow means that men need to keep their wives happy. But it just leads you into, well, men cheat because their needs aren't met. He wouldn't get so angry if she didn't push his buttons. We teach women that they're responsible for men's behavior, and men absorb that too, right? It creates this worldview where a man believes that he's reacting, not initiating. You see men right now constantly rambling, ranting on like lunatics about how women are not taking accountability, right? 100 women versus accountability. Women stopped taking accountability and responsibility for what men do, and that has men spiraling, right? They expect women to do this because, frankly, I mean, we generally have, right? So this change feels like an attack. Look how hard they commit to expecting this from women. And look at these men believing in their heart of hearts that women are just not taking accountability. They're not even looking at what they've done because they don't look at their own behavior. Then we have hierarchy, which people pretend is like some old-fashioned thing, but it's actually very alive and very well. Men are raised to believe that they are leaders by default. I encourage you to watch my video on how men are not natural leaders. They're not providers and they're not protectors either. They think that they're the head of the house, right? The decision maker, the one in charge. Women are raised to adapt, compromise, support men. So when a man goes into a relationship believing that he should have the final say, it doesn't actually take that much for that to become control. Because when he feels challenged, he's going to see it as disrespect, not equality, which is what it is. The next one is fragile masculinity. I did a podcast episode on that with Brent McCleary, an anti-misogynist educator. It was phenomenal. Listen, fragile masculinity is an insecurity. It's entitlement reacting to discomfort. It's the belief that if you hurt his feelings, he has a right to restore the balance by hurting you back, whether it's emotionally, verbally, sexually, or through silence, right? He's not melting down because he's scared to lose you. He's melting down because he believes women shouldn't make him feel anything unpleasant, right? So he punishes you until you stop. That's dominance. That's what he wants. Next is selective empathy. Men are not empathy deficient across the board, right? Not even narcissists. Some have none, sure, but plenty have some. We're not always talking about clinical narcissists though, right? They empathize with their friends, coworkers, strangers, men they've never met, strangers on the internet, their dogs, hobbies, fictional characters. But you notice, right? They don't empathize with women that they want compliance from. And that's not because they can't. It's because they do not value your experience enough to course correct. They feel for others. They sympathize with others. They withhold that sort of tenderness from you because your suffering benefits him. It keeps you in line. Now, another ingredient that really fuels abuse is social reinforcement. Men protect each other, right? Men protect men. We see it all the time. They defend each other. I'm going to go back to what I just said earlier. They defend men they've never even met. They justify each other. They minimize everything, right? He's going through a lot. He's a good guy. He didn't mean it. Let me hear his side. Every couple fights, you're overreacting. You know women. And women sometimes reinforce this too because, hey, we're all living in the patriarchy, right? We've all been trained our whole lives to protect men's reputations, soothe their feelings, don't be difficult. Abuse thrives because the environment around it won't call it what it is. I call it what it is, and it's why men hate me so much. We also have the belief that power is what makes a man, right? And this one's brutal. He's taught that dominance and authority, control, respect, they're all earned through hierarchy. If he feels powerless anywhere else, home is now like a battleground where he needs to restore that power. And it's never going to be through growth or reflection, but it will be probably through force, manipulation, and coercion. And again, none of this is diagnosable. This is cultural. This is social. Now, all of these ingredients matter, but let's talk about the one ingredient that ties everything together. One belief that every abusive man carries, whether he's rich, broke, religious, atheist, calm, explosive, charismatic, cruel, covert, overt. Once you see this, you stop hoping, you stop personalizing. You realize you can't fix him. The number one ingredient behind abuse is entitlement. Entitlement is the belief that he deserves more from you than he gives. More patience, more support, more forgiveness, more access to your body, your time, your energy, loyalty, life. Entitlement is the belief that you owe him comfort, right? You owe him understanding. You owe him sex. You owe him silence. You owe him a chance to hurt you again, right? Because he's trying. He thinks he deserves your tolerance and that you deserve less than him. That belief is the root of it all. Entitlement is why diagnoses don't explain abuse, because no diagnosis makes someone believe that they own another human being. No diagnosis teaches a man that women exist for his benefit. There is no diagnosis that sort of gives him the right to punish you when you don't obey. Abuse comes from beliefs, not symptoms. It's from choice. It's from entitlement. It's not from trauma. And the sooner a woman understands that, the sooner she can stop taking responsibility for a man who is never going to choose accountability anyway. If this hit hard and you're just trying to understand your own situation, book a private coaching session with me. I help women rebuild after abuse by breaking the illusion, reclaiming themselves, and rebuilding a life that does not include him or any man like this. We can have great, healthy relationships. You don't need a partner. I understand people want one, and that's incredible. And there are so many good men out there that you don't have to have these kinds of arguments with. Hit subscribe, and let's get this video in front of people who need it.